Welcome back to the DOJ Has Downs. They're at the gate, and they're off. Jumping out in the lead is underage girls and Bill Clinton close behind. It's a blue dress painting and a creepy island. And now here comes the Lolita Express. A curious prince. Andrew falls back as the FBI takes the reins. Faulty cameras falls off quickly as a fat Bill Barr moves into position. And here comes my guards. Took a nap followed by the strongest bedsheets and the dumbest thing we've ever heard. And down the stretch they come. Pedos Run Our Government is pulling away from disappearing victims by a length. But coming in strong is no videos exist. But I saw the video and nothing is wrong. And at the wire, it's the media colluding with Epstein, a conspiracy to finish Trump. And who's the boss?
A absolutely catastrophic situation for Democrats yesterday, when you could see some of the biggest nightmares of the first administration laid forth in the decision to allow Michael Wolff into the White House. A wolf, letting the wolves into the White House, letting the wolves into the sheep pasture or the chicken houses, as the old fables would go. The Aesop's fable, the wolf, never the good character. Michael Wolff, not a good character. And it turns out that this author and biographer spent many, many hours with Jeffrey Epstein colluding as to how to get Trump. And yet the first administration let this guy in to go profile Trump and write this massive hit job. It just shows you the difference in the administrations, and we should be thankful for learning. Nobody lives a perfect life. I do not live a perfect life. I constantly have to get roasted inside of this company, in the chat, for doing things that I'm like frankly ashamed of, right? Like you make mistakes. And this was a massive mistake. And Democrats revealed that this week in the release of Jeffrey Epstein emails, that this author, Michael Wolff, this guy who's like out there with all these sordid and salacious claims against Donald Trump, this man was colluding directly with Jeffrey Epstein to see how they could use Jeffrey Epstein and his sick predator pedophilia in order to harm Trump. You can see it in the actual emails. It's a massive backfire, one of the most historic backfires we've ever seen. I guess we should start, ladies and gentlemen, with the biggest backfire, which is the claim that Donald Trump was spending hours with one of the Epstein victims. Oh boy, very naughty here. Goodness gracious. So naughty. The Democrats released an email that said, yo, here's President Trump spending time with Epstein victim, right? Okay, so let's click through. Please scroll down and click through the Democrats' email. Let's go through and debunk the whole thing. So they released this. They should be sued for this. I mean, I don't know if you can. I don't know how that works. It's hard to sue the federal government. They should be sued for this. Oversight Democrats. Let's go to the first page here. Look at this naughty email from Jeffrey Epstein. So here's Jeffrey Epstein emailing Ghislaine Maxwell. I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what that means in just a second. Victim, they black out the name. Victim spent hours at his house. Wow. One of my victims, girl who was abused or whatever, I just assume that she was, yes, abused by Trump. This is what the allegations say here from the Democrats. Klein, click out of this. Click out of this. Click out. Out. Out, my friend. There you go. Now click on this one. There you go. There you go. You gotta keep up. Here we go. Rocking and rolling. Sometimes on these things, it's better if I just run it with my window. But nonetheless, here we go. There it is. You can see how the Democrats blotted out victim. Wow. Look at that. Trump must have done something super naughty here. But what's amazing about this email is that not only is it not new, we have the original without the blotting out. And so you can actually see who the victim is. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the unredacted version. Thank you, Klein. Virginia. Well, who would that be? Oh, it'd be Virginia Roberts, the lady we just had killed, the lady that we just murdered. By the way, murdering people who have dirt on us is going to be a theme of the show. We'll get to the Clintons in just a second. It is amazing the way that Democrats swing on Trump and end up knocking out their own molars. It is remarkable, the capacity for them to do this. The ability for them to take a big hammer, a sledgehammer, and swing it as hard as they possibly can, hit rubber, and have it bounce right back up into their own ballsack. It's like an Acme cartoon. It's like a Looney Tune. Who's Virginia? Oh, yeah, Virginia Roberts. Virginia Roberts, of course, is a hero. She's somebody who blew the whistle on Jeffrey Epstein. She was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew's been kicked out of the royal family. They settled with her for hundreds of millions of pounds. I don't know the exact number. It's secret. But they don't pay these kind of things out if nothing happened. There are photos to prove it. And ladies and gentlemen, she got a front row seat in the most horrifying way to the Jeffrey Epstein operation. Now, what is that operation? It's been totally revealed that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. He was working for Israel. Oh, we know that now. We'll get there. Don't you worry. So much to get to. Let's start slowly. So they released this. This is the big news, okay? We're going to go through all the news, but this is the big news that they released. Donald Trump, they had to block out her name, but Donald Trump did a nasty thing with a victim of Epstein. The funny part about it is that, yes, Donald Trump knew that Virginia Roberts was a victim. Donald Trump spoke about it many times. Hey, Alex, do we have the clip of Donald Trump talking through this? Okay. Donald Trump spoke about Virginia Roberts many times. He's not scared of Virginia Roberts. He doesn't look like Bill Clinton does. When you bring up any of his accusers, Donald Trump's like, yeah, that's a sweetheart. She worked in the spa at Mar-a-Lago. Predator Jeffrey Epstein stole her from Mar-a-Lago. He engaged in abuses of young women. I kicked out Jeffrey Epstein for that exact reason. Virginia Roberts, in her own hand, please, deposition, in her own hand, says Donald Trump was nothing more than an absolute and total gentleman to me. Donald Trump is somebody who never touched me, never abused me, never flirted with me, she even says, in sworn deposition to the court. Virginia Roberts is someone who has said this not only in court documents, but also in media and in her book and in depositions. And she would have done it before Congress, but she was murdered. How can you possibly say that? We heard that she committed suicide. Well, listen, guys, I'm just going off of the words of her father, okay? I don't know Virginia Roberts, never met her, don't know her. But let me tell you a little story about Virginia Roberts. Get that suicide tweet for me and get it right now. Virginia Roberts told us she wasn't suicidal. So that's the first thing, okay? Speaking of, when you're talking about ornaments that don't hang themselves, when people tell you straight up, I'm not suicidal, you should tend to believe them. That's a bit of a cry for help. Virginia Roberts posted this online when she was coming out in a deposition against Prince Andrew. She says, if something bad happens to me, know this, I'm not suicidal. And what happens next? Well, just about a year and a half after she posts this tweet, Virginia Roberts gets hit by a bus. How did that happen? Well, I don't know. Nobody's ever explained it to us. Why did she get hit by a bus? Was she in was she traveling in downtown Manhattan or Chicago? Nope. She was in the middle of the Australian outback, literally on a farm in the middle of a rural road in one of the most remote places on Earth. Well, what happened after she got hit by a bus? Was someone arrested? Did they ask the driver, who are you? What are you doing out here, running people over? Nope. Nobody was ever charged. Nobody ever faced any punishment. Well, that's completely strange. That doesn't make any sense. Don't make any sense. Well, Virginia Roberts, did she die? No, she was actually in hospital, and she recorded a video that says she's going to die. Well, that's strange. After she said she's not suicidal? Yep. She said she had days to live from her hospital bed after getting blasted by a bus in the middle of the Australian outback. All of these things, 100% empirically true. This is the story. And then lo and behold, just days after recording that video, found dead. Virginia Roberts. The official story, even though we haven't seen any autopsy, this is going to be a recurring theme, okay? There's a Vince Foster, it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. Even though we haven't seen any autopsy, Even though we didn't see any evidence, even though her family members and her lawyer say that the entire situation is suspicious and they don't believe it. Her own father says this. Listen, people have troubled kids. Sometimes it's important to just kind of know your kids and to be there for them. And obviously that's your role as a parent. But when her own father, Alex, you got that clip? When her own father goes on Piers Morgan and says, no, I don't believe that she committed suicide, then you got a real problem here. Now, why, we talked about how this suicide of Virginia Roberts happened, and she went by Virginia Roberts and Virginia Giuffre. She's used both. So I'm just going to go with Roberts because it's just easier to say. But Virginia Giuffre is also a name she's used. When this happened, we said that's incredibly convenient that this is happening right now because she was a superstar. Virginia Roberts is out there talking to all of the press, all of the media, telling them everything about Bill Clinton, telling them everything about the truth of Jeffrey Epstein and his operation. I'm not trying to discount other women that Jeffrey Epstein abused, and there were other women. But I'm saying that Virginia Roberts has all the receipts to back everything up. And in a world where people, you can obviously see the way that things go. So they go the way of BLM. They obviously go the way of Me Too and BLM, right? When you sort of get a feeding frenzy on this kind of stuff. It's important to have people that are above reproach. People who've obviously been doing this for a long time, who stand to no financial benefit, who are just there for the truth, right? And for justice. And Virginia Roberts was just one of those people, and her voice would be very important right now, especially as Democrats try and run this op against Trump. It's almost like they knew the op was going to happen, and they needed to make sure that the key witness, who was constantly saying that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, she was constantly saying this. Again, you can find deposition after deposition after deposition where she is asked about Donald Trump. It would just blow the hole in the entire operation if you have this woman out there who's saying, no, Trump did nothing wrong. It just seems all too convenient, doesn't it? Too convenient for her father. Here we go.
Tell me about your reaction when you heard that she'd taken her life.
Well, first of all, I couldn't even believe it. I started crying right away. I'm still crying. I can't believe that this is happening. It's impossible. And then for them to say that she committed suicide, there's no way that she did. Somebody got to her.
Somebody got to her. There's no way that she did. Wouldn't like her father be the most accurate and important authority on what is his daughter's motivations here? Wouldn't you trust the dad? I have little girls. There is a special connection between me and my daughters. Shouldn't we believe it when Virginia Roberts says right here, I'm making it publicly known in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I've made this known to my therapist, my general practitioner. If something happens to me, for the sake of my family, do not let it go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. Well, well, well. Wouldn't it be so important right now to have Virginia Roberts? So can we go back to the Democrats tweet? So there's the Oversight Democrats tweet. Wow, look at that. 13 million views, 12,000 reposts, 43,000 likes, 5,000 saves. This thing went properly viral. They blacked out Virginia Roberts' name because they know damn well that if she were alive right now, she'd be the first person suing them. Saying, how dare you actually imply that Donald Trump was anything other than a gentleman to me? You're lying. And they'd have to delete the tweet. But she's dead, so now they can get away with their lies. Vince Foster's dead. Again, I'm trying to sense a trend here, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. So that first op completely and totally blew up in their face. And we're starting to see actually the op fully laid bare with not only this blow up in their face, but also Michael Wolff and how he was working behind the scenes with Jeffrey Epstein. And this sort of proves it in order to sabotage Donald Trump and slander him and smear him. That's what I was talking about up front. Trump-obsessed writer Michael Wolff encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail Donald Trump, emails reveal. Let's read. Discredited author Michael Wolff once encouraged Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail Donald Trump, insisting the convicted pedophile could generate debt from him. The Trump-obsessed writer's email exchanges with Epstein were among a trove of documents released by House Democrats. In one email, Wolff floated the possibility of intimidating Trump for his own benefit. He warned that Epstein and the then GOP candidate be asked about the alleged ties on the campaign trail. I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in a scrum afterwards. I think that you should let him hang himself. What? I think you should let him hang himself, Michael Wolff adds the next day. If he then hasn't been on, if he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or you could win generating a debt. Well, would you look at that? Talking about hanging themselves. Chillingly sharp use of words there. Of course, it is possible that, when asked, he'll say Jeffrey was a great guy and has gotten a raw deal out of the victims for political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. So let's unpack the operation here, because now it's just right there in the emails. Now it's in black and white. We've been able to see the operation, but here it is in black and white. Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of the nation of Israel. Now we know this. Hey, Alex, let's just walk on through some of those important articles yesterday that obviously show this. And we don't need to spend too much time on this, but Dropsite News has some incredible. I wasn't familiar with Dropsite News up until yesterday. They have some incredible reporting here about how Jeffrey Epstein was an agent of Israel. Now, whatever you feel about that, whatever you think about that, it's true. You don't have to like it. And yeah, please get me the whole series of articles. It's in the production. I need the whole series of articles because Dropsite News has been corroborating some critically important things. And I know how this works because I know the people that do it inside of the Trump administration. Here's how it works. For high-level and sensitive negotiations, what states often do is create a private partnership with individuals who are not representatives of the government in case things go south. When you're a representative of the government, there are a lot of very strict rules around what you can say, what you can do, who you can talk to, what you can deliver and offer, because you're a state actor. When you're a proxy for a state actor, you can do things like this. Perfect. Here's Jeffrey Epstein negotiating security deals with Mongolia. Here's Jeffrey Epstein having Israeli spies stay in his home. Coeur d'Alene, another security deal. A security deal with Syria and Russia. Negotiating all on behalf of the nation of Israel. The last photo that was taken of Jeffrey Epstein, he was wearing a IDF sweatshirt. I mean, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to sort of see this pattern. And it's something that we've discussed widely on this program, which is that Jeffrey Epstein was indeed part of a influence and sabotage op in order to entrap Western leaders. You can put that up, Klein. Thank you. Here's the idea. This is like the last known photograph of Jeffrey Epstein. And what is he wearing? An IDF, Israeli Defense Forces t-shirt. It's a little on the nose here, quite frankly. But what are we to make of this? What are we to make of this entire operation? And what are we seeing now in the Michael Wolff emails? That the whole point of this was in order to entrap and to manipulate Western powers, leadership, oligarchs from around the world. It wasn't just Americans. There were powerful people from NATO countries, billionaires, multinational, actors and actresses, foreign, American, and otherwise, that were ensnared here in order for there to be some level of compromise on them. And that's what you see plain as day here in the black and white. Let's control Donald Trump because you are such a sick pederast, and anyone associated with you, so you are like engaging in pedophilia, Jeffrey, on purpose, you'd have to assume then, in order to make you such an irascible and evil, malevolent figure. We're creating that by design. And then anyone associated with you, we can then smear them, control them, just by proxy. Bill Clinton's a great example of this. Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's jet. And what do they say about Bill Clinton's flights on Epstein's jets? There were little girls on the flights, and they were putting the president at risk. Kevin Spacey said these exact things. The little girls on the flight put Clinton at risk. I mean, are you going to call Kevin Spacey a liar? In what motivation would Kevin Spacey have to lie here?
I was very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it.
Well, I haven't ever heard it put like that. But you can obviously see the operation here. This has gotten no press. I can't imagine why. But nonetheless, Jeffrey Epstein has been all but confirmed due to the, and I want to just put up, if you could put up some of those drop site links, all but confirmed and as an Israeli agent, somebody acting on behalf of the nation state of Israel. And so you have to effectively bundle it all together and view this as what we've always viewed it as, which is a influence operation, a compromise operation. And now we have it in black and white. That's what they were trying to do. They're trying to smear Trump by proxy using Jeffrey Epstein. Democrats don't give a damn about Epstein victims. You've never heard them say the name Epstein before. Bill Clinton now is on death's door, so they just don't care. He's done. They've used him. He's a husk and a shell of himself. Bill Clinton can barely utter a sentence. He's gone the way of Joe Biden. So he's totally useless to the Democrats now. So now they can just trot out the Epstein stuff because it is now useful against Donald Trump. I think they were a little worried that this would all blow back on Bill, but nonetheless, Bill is totally a relic at this point, and they just don't care, right? And so now that it's been laid bare, what are we to make of it? And what are we to believe about what Jeffrey Epstein says? Is he telling the truth? I mean, you can see here in the documents that, unlike Donald Trump, the victims did know Bill Clinton quite closely and carnally. You can tell here that, according to all available evidence, Bill Clinton has a considerable amount to hide. And it's something that President Trump's been telling us for a long time. Somebody who actually cares about Epstein victims would talk like this.
Or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy. Some of his friends that are hedge fund guys, they're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. So you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys lived with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Thank you very much. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard.
Again and again and again, Donald Trump. I mean, okay, this is the final time I'll make this point because it's so self-evident. Trump started his political career talking about Jeffrey Epstein. If you were guilty, you wouldn't do that. I mean, if you're entirely pathological and you want to get caught, I guess. But if you knew that your opponent was a criminal, then you'd bring that up. If you were the criminal, you wouldn't bring it up. This is human nature. This is deep in the bone stuff, guys. It's not hard. This is easy. President Trump, back in 2015, was talking about Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, and the island. Donald Trump began his campaign by popularizing who Jeffrey Epstein was. Why would you do that if you had something to hide? He, of course, doesn't have anything to hide. In fact, according to Mike Johnson, in a clip that we won't forget, they want us to forget it, Mike Johnson straight up outed Trump as an FBI informant against Epstein, which stands to reason, here we go,
saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them.
I forgot that these two clips were together, so it bears some explaining. But nonetheless, this is Mike Johnson saying Trump was an FBI informant. He was an FBI informant against Jeffrey Epstein. Probably something that he shouldn't have said. They tried to walk that back, but whatever. And then here's the lawyer. Here's the lawyer for the Epstein victims here in a now famous interview saying Trump's the only guy who helped me. But Trump was perfectly happy to do that. We've seen both these clips before. Like, that is what stands to reason. And now there are some people who are trying to hide once again. Who are those people? The Clinton body count. Always a great show when we can show you this Wikipedia page. I long for this. We go to bed. I sit, I dream, I look at the stars, I hope and pray that I'll be able to show this, that I'll wake up in the morning and ALX will have some leads for the show, and one of them will include a way for me to weave in this Wikipedia page. Oh, it's a great Wikipedia page, ain't it? Clinton body count conspiracy theory. Oh, it's a conspiracy. So just stop reading, right? But if you continue to read, something magical happens. Something magical happens. The Clinton body count conspiracy says that there are deaths of up to 100 people that are directly related to the Clintons. They've edited this, haven't they? They've edited this because they know that we read it. It's so funny. Bill Clinton and his wife, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, have secretly had their political opponents murdered and often made it look like suicides, totaling as many as 50 or more listed victims. Okay. I love that. Just frame it, will you? Just frame it. So that's what the Clinton body count is. Now, the most famous death on the Clinton body count is a guy named Vince Foster. So what exactly is Vince Foster? Who is Vince Foster? Let's go ahead and read. Alex has procured us an article to kind of like rip through this. FBI files linking Hillary Clinton to suicide of White House counsel Vince Foster has vanished from the National Archives. Oh no! Would you look at that? Foster, who was the White House counsel, very powerful position, is believed to have shot himself with a .38 caliber revolver in a park along the Potomac River. He shot himself multiple times in the back of the head. Okay. Two former FBI agents involved in the investigation tell the Daily Mail that they issued reports linking Hillary Clinton to Foster's suicide. Days before his death, the First Lady ridiculed him mercilessly in front of his peers, says former FBI agent detailed in their report. "You have failed us," Hillary told Foster. Oh my. They archived the material in the case, but now it's all gone. Oh no. Here's a photo of Hillary Clinton and Vince Foster. Okay. Let's go ahead and read, just kind of like the people's history here of Vince Foster and the Clintons here some more. Alex, do you have that? The FBI investigation of Foster's death has been conducted by an independent counsel, Kenneth Starr. For unknown reasons, Starr elected to conceal the FBI's findings in the report. So yeah, Vince Foster had a very rough situation with the White House. Like, yeah, put up the other article. I want just like a rundown. I want like a people's memory of like what was all of Vince Foster here. Thank you. Right here. Okay. Hillary Clinton triggered suicide of President Bill Clinton's counsel, Vince Foster, when she attacked and humiliated him in front of White House staff, according to FBI agents, who's now all of their available evidence is now gone. Got it. But you know who does know about these kind of things? The comedians. It's a famous clip of Norm Macdonald on The View, something that would never happen, where Norm Macdonald walks up and sits down in front of the witches of The View, many of them still on the show. It's amazing because this is how beleaguered and old and what a nursing home The View has become. And he gets up and he makes this joke about Bill Clinton. And it is the single funniest joke in the history of The View, but probably in the history of live television ever. Please watch.
I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Oh.
Who are the murderers? Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, we're not allowed to. You're not allowed to put out no accusations without.
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does work.
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice. Okay. Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen,
Norm,
we don't need
I
to
don't want
talk
to get
about
into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations, and you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to it.
It's funny. There you go.
This is a live show.
Why? Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm not going to ask the next question.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up.
Okay.
Let me do this, okay?
I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now. Let's talk football.
All right, manslaughter.
Let's talk football.
Norm, did you ever hear the word?
The phone is ringing.
I certainly hope that's somebody calling to tell you to go home.
Oh, no.
Well, you got a phone ringing.
Oh.
Answer the phone.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The thing is this. You know Matt Strauss?
Yeah, the producer.
The producer. He told me it would be funny. He said, like, why don't you carry a cell phone on and then let it ring and then pretend like there's a guy on it.
Is there anybody on it?
No, it's a pretend thing.
You know what, Norm?
Okay, all right. You know, I would watch The View if they had interactions like that. You know, he killed a guy. You know, Bill Clinton, he just killed a guy. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Vince Foster, the peculiarities around Vince Foster's suicide, still around to this day. He was the White House counsel for the Clintons. Why are we talking about him right now? Well, Jeffrey Epstein, in his emails, has revealed something remarkable. So if you scroll on down to subsequent investigations section here, now that we're trying to use Wikipedia as the top line source here, but even when left-wing corrupt media says that there's very strange things that happened and strange circumstances around this suicide, along with the 50 other people that happened to just commit suicide around the Clintons, you know, where there's smoke, there's often fire. Well, now we know the fire. Jeffrey Epstein, in his emails, has said that Hillary Clinton was having a sexual relationship with Vince Foster. How is that not the story? Look at this. Hillary doing naughty things with Vince. What? Foster committed suicide in 1993. Well. What kind of a mess were they running inside of the Clinton White House? How nasty is that? I mean, listen. Does that explain why Vince Foster died? Saw Hillary naked? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's not up to me. Nobody asked. And I'm not trying to say anything other than if Democrats are going to say that Jeffrey Epstein's emails are the truest and most pure document ever written, then why aren't they investigating this? Has anybody asked Hillary Clinton if she was having an affair with Vince Foster? I'm just asking questions here. And is that why she got him killed? Was he going to go to the media and say that the First Lady was cheating on her husband while her husband was cheating on her with every bimbo that walked through the White House, including a bunch of reporters, and everyone knows Monica Lewinsky, but like, you know, there was like hundreds of people, right? With Bill Clinton. The list is like obscenely long. Donald Trump couldn't even fit them all in a row when he trolled Bill Clinton with all the people that accused him of sexual abuse at the debates in 2016. So yes, I think this is like an important question to ask. Why don't we ask it? This man was found dead under very mysterious circumstances. Shot himself in the back of the head. Apparently, those weren't the firearm wounds. He did it in the middle of a park? In a public park? No witnesses? Multiple bullet wounds? Bullet holes? A .38 revolver, which like would be, how would you shoot yourself in the back of the head with that? Lots of questions. Maybe if Hillary was having an affair with him, we'd be able to understand a little more why this man died. Will Democrats look into this? I don't know. I sure hope so. But it sure makes a lot of sense now. And boy, do we ever see like how this could unravel in all the wrong ways.